then things start to unravel before your eyes, and then you got to be intentional in doing it, because it's not going to be easy, you know. Trusting someone with your finance, trusting someone, and if she even mess up by doing it, the love of God will give her a chance to go again. The love that we exercise by loving her like how Christ loved the church and gives life for it, even if she messed up by opening up her finance to her, she might do a wrong spending, or she do something that is out of character where you just say, all right, I'm going to take care of my account and close it. Give her a chance to go again. Because if God give you a helpmate, that means you're weak. Strong. So a lot of times other men going through struggle we are failing, and because we are not strong by ourselves, and we have to put our helpmate to work. Woman is very powerful being. When I dig the word and realize how strong their will is, and their mental capacity, and they can multitask. Some of us are not utilizing our wife, and that's why we're back. We're going back. We're not utilizing the strength of our helpmate. Yeah, and that's why we're not being successful. So when I comb the scripture and I realize, you know, what I need to do, I start to apply them, and submission come over time. It now come one time. So don't think that you're going to get up tomorrow morning and you're married and your wife must just submit to you. So she said the love grow, so she said the transparency, so she said the unity and the corresponding decisions. Then she started submit eventually to have total submission over a period of time.
So that becomes very, very critical, because if you are not loving your wives, men, then you realize that there becomes a shortfall. If you drop short, then there is going to be a shortfall in terms of her submission, because she will only submit to you when the love of God that is flowing through him is obvious or evident, and then you begin to realize, all right, I can begin to submit. And if you're going to love your wife as Christ loved the church, we said it this morning, there has to be transparency, and there cannot be no closet. No closet. You have to use the mic, because there are others that are listening by recording and they can only hear you from this.
Okay. One thing my sister Jackie talk about. I read an introduction of a book. I don't read a book, but I read an introduction of a book. When it comes into marriage, just as she said, each and every individual bring a baggage in the marriage. And if that baggage is not unraveled, go back again, as you said this morning, that skeleton in that baggage come out. That's where the problem start to roll,
unravel,
and after that thing. Because sometimes some people don't take marriage. Thank God for us on the Christian part, and not every man in church. Even your brother Steve said, I think here that about finances. You have Christians who have their wife and they don't know everything about their financial business. Understand? And go back again, as brother Steve said, is that when you bring that baggage into a marriage of not being transparent with your finances, and when you say that you don't have any money, and then the wife goes somewhere and pull. I heard of a wife one time say the husband say he don't have any money, and when the lady pull the man wallet and see the amount of money the man have been there, she said she shake her and said, but the man saying no money, look at the man wallet full of money. So what I'm saying here is that in marriage, when you carry that baggage in marriage and you don't be transparent, clear in every area, that's where we have a lot of problem in church. Not being clear to each other.
I got a very critical question. Should I bring my baggage into my marriage? Delroy.
Baggages are a very funny thing. Sometimes people will bring things, baggages, so to speak. But the thing is that if you are aware that this is there and it is something that I need to deal with, it's almost like a cry for help. Help me to deal with this thing. So it's almost a cry for help. You are saying, help me to deal with this thing. If it's open, if it's there, if it's something that you are aware of, then by all means, then you can always take on that challenge together, depending what it is and so on. And if you're going to need professional help, then you are able to navigate your way better if you know that this thing is there. So, but the problem I would see would be the hidden baggage, the things that sometimes I watch these little memes that people put in. Somebody walking on the beach and a gentleman is standing and his stomach is all stuck in and he looks nice and muscular. And as soon as the lady passes, the tummy hangs out.
Hangovers.
So if it's that kind of hidden situation where the person has an agenda and they're not seeking for help, but they're saying, well, you're going to have to deal with this, but I'm going to wait until I get into here. Then it becomes destructive. But if it's something that you are aware of and it's interpreted as a cry for help, and you can try to help the person to work around these things. Because I've seen, I can tell you an example. I've seen one young lady that I know about. She had a boyfriend, so he called her. He calls her. Are you okay? Did you eat? Can I bring you lunch? And she got really upset. She got really, where am I watch me for? If me did hungry, me that tell you say me hungry. And that was her attitude. But the thing, it stemmed from a whole mistrust. So because she was in previous relationships where people were
can't be trusted.
Checking up on them and so on. So she's feeling that this is what the young man is doing, and all he wants to do is to just make sure that she was okay.
But again, you realize that when things like those begin to happen, you realize that there is quite a bit of inferiority complex that is within it. Because you now look at the dynamics of not just a trust issue, not just a trust factor, but you also look at the factor of maybe other generational things that would have happened within her history. Why is it that you can't allow somebody to be of concern about you? And I've always said, while you are independent, when you come into a marriage, you cannot bring that level of independence into the marriage, because it brings you to a place where you think that you run your own show. It happens this way, it has to go that way, and if you don't want to do it, I have my own money, I can do my own thing. That level of independence creates crisis. Creates another crisis. We wanted to kind of touch on the reality of should I say the role of the wives? Let's play with it from that perspective, because there are some men who have this notion in their heads that a wife is only there for WCC. Anybody know what that is? Oh, you're brilliant people. So is that true? But before I ask you to speak, ladies, I want you to respond. So Marsha, your turn. Microphone, please. What is considered the role of a wife?
Well, traditionally, the role of a wife would be a homemaker, but we basically are living in what is called an equalitarian society, where men are going out to work as well as women. So I think the roles, the traditional roles, basically should be dual roles. So housework, the washing, the cooking, the cleaning should be shared.
Speak with an assertive voice and don't sound like you're trying to feel this thing out. Say what you're saying.
No, it should be shared.
Good, yes.
And in my family, that's what's happened. We share the roles. Because we're both going out to work, so we share the roles.
Sounds good. All right. Beautiful. if you'd pass the microphone down in the same row to Juliet. Yeah. I don't want to put the single mothers in that spot. Not yet. All right.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
So I agree with what she sometimes.
The sharing is sometimes, and again, it comes with understanding as to the circumstances as to how things operate. Yeah. And so that is something that has to be worked in an individualized setting. What affects the Grants family will not so much affect the Hills family, and what affects the Hills family will certainly not affect the Thompson's family. So it's a matter of getting to a place where you're going to have to work this thing based on the actual setting. Yeah. One family might have 2 children, another one have 4. Yeah? And one might have 1 and one have none. So, again, the whole flexibility as to how things operate. But Jackie, walk us through this whole thing as to this concept where men have this notion that women are only there to WCC.
Wash, cook, and clean.
Yes.
Well, that one messed up my first marriage.
Let's elaborate a little bit.
Okay, so I love to clean, but I don't like to cook. I can cook and I will cook, but for me it's not, you know, you have some men that want a fresh cooked meal every day. That is not me. So my first marriage, I would clean, and because I love a clean house, but I work and I could not come home from work every evening to cook, and it created mayhem, because then I felt as if I was not being loved, because you want me to do everything, and we're a partner, and as partners we're supposed to share. Not something, but we're supposed to share across the board. So if it's Saturday and I am off and I am cleaning all day, I think at least you can cook some food for both of us. So we were not in agreement where being a togetherness worked for us. So we argued constantly and we fought constantly. So hence, after 3 years of marriage, I'm like, you know what? My mother did not raise a maid, so I am not your maid. I'm done. And that was that.
Now we're learning a little more, because you realize that had it been in a setting where both of you were compatible in terms of the flexibility and the ability to work together, as Delroy said this morning, things could have been different. So it is for us to come to that place that we begin to understand, first of all, fairness. And if you can't cook, let me look at these people. If you can't cook, then you can YouTube it, or you can pay for it. You know what the pay for it means? Order it. It will come delivered to you. And you can't complain at that point that a she spoiled the meal. Or I was related to a colleague recently, and he said to me one day his wife brought him a meal, and based on how the meal was prepared, he took the meal and cussed her out over the food. He said his old teacher to cook, and carried on the most disregarding way. And out of it, he came to the consensus. He said, boy, I wish the food had choked me that day, because he went so overboard out of aggression, with no sense of appreciation, not even to say thank you for considering me and bringing me a meal. And so to this day I said, you can release it no more and forgive yourself. But you begin to realize these are things that affect marriage life. And the most harsh reality is that after the WCC, then the men expect S every day. So it's the WCCS. Children are in the room, so I am very, very, yeah, and of course they are very smart. So I'm only going to do the best I can. Yeah. So that's that. But Raquel, let's talk about this. What is considered the traditional wife aspect of things, and then we move on.
Okay, I am a traditional wife.
Wash, cook, and clean.
Wash, cook, clean, I do everything. Now, when we met, at 23, I had 3 kids. So when I had my second daughter, I got pregnant very quickly with my third child. And so I was home. Steve alone worked. So I made sure that the family was okay. Steve would work construction. So I would make sure that I would cook. If I didn't cook the day before, something that he could take to work, then I would wake up and I would cook something and take it to work for him. So he had something for lunch. So that went on for a while. And then when I got a job, it didn't mean anything to me to discontinue the role. I knew that Steve, and I don't know, I like to. I'm just probably one of the very few women, to be honest, that love to wash, cook, clean, iron, all of it. It don't mean anything to me. I could stand up and iron for 3 hours. It doesn't mean anything to me. But, so because of that, Steve said he could clean and all of that stuff. It didn't matter to me because I love cleaning, so he couldn't clean to suit me or cook to suit me. So as I said, it's not every wife. Steve does construction. He's a boss. He has workers that he has to deal with, jobs and customers. And sometimes when he come in, he's just beat. Sometimes he just lay down on the ground and I have to share the dinner and bring it to him, pick up the plate and go wash. He just can't move. He's just tired. The sun is hot. You understand me? And then he's just exhausted with dealing with workers and all that. So I just kept it up. So in my house, I wash, I cook, I clean, I iron. I work, but I don't have a problem doing it. I'm not going to tell any other woman that it is what you're supposed to do, but I enjoy doing housework. I look forward to Steve coming in and making sure that the house is always clean. I feel like if he comes in and he's exhausted, sometime throughout the day, he feel like he wants to come home and just lay down, the house must be clean. I feel like if he comes in and sometimes he come in and he's wet or he's just sweaty and he's change off clothes, because he sweats very, very hard, then I make sure his clothes are in order, that he has his work shorts are in order, he come home, he can change off. When he come in for lunch, Steve don't really eat out much. Steve don't really like to eat out. He have a very sensitive stomach. So I make sure that if I cook the night before, I leave something the day, or sometimes I cook in the morning before I go to work to make sure I have something to eat, depending on the day that I'm having. So we don't argue about that part. The only thing I would say to him is to make sure that he keeps the place clean or just pack the dishes in the dishwasher. That's basically all he has to do. But as I said, it's not every wife, it's not every household. It depends on how you do it. I believe personally that I was born to be a housewife. I think the circumstances with children and mortgage and living here is so expensive that I ended up starting to work. And I have a daughter who feels that, mommy, I really feel like I'm a housewife like you, like I have that housewife thing about me. But yeah, I'm just one of those real traditional old-time housewife. I work, but I feel like I'm a housewife at heart.
Question? Their emotions and shifting. So here's the question I asked us tonight. Is it okay to take care of your husband? Because like in the case of Steve with what is considered more a sensitive stomach, some of us can't eat everywhere. Yeah, I've gotten to a place where I'm very sensitive to where I eat. I can't eat everywhere because I hate salted food. It affects me badly. So I can't eat it. So it's not that I can just run into a fast food place and grab something, or run anybody who put on appetite. I can't do it. So there are some places that I can be able to say, all right, I can eat here, or there may be about 3 restaurants in town that I can eat from out of the barrage that they have, because I try not to consume things that at the end of the day, because you see, I understand that this is the temple of the Lord first, and so I've got to take care of this. So that becomes important. And sometimes I'll say, you know what, I'll pass the food on, I'm going home, and I'm sure when I go home, sister was going to ask me, do you want to eat? And it happens. While of course she works on rotating shifts, there is always some provision. Even if she comes in late at night, there is some provision made, because she understands. I'll have counseling sessions up until 10, 11 o'clock at nights, and she'll ensure that at the end of that my physical being is being refreshed, because it takes a lot of mental strength to be able to sit with some people and even just have a conversation. So it becomes necessary. So the most critical thing about relationships, because family cannot happen until the relationship has been sorted, and if the part of compatibility is not fixed early, then you're going to have crisis. Yeah, crisis. So let's talk about compatibility. Yeah, let's talk about compatibility, and I'm looking for somebody to pick up tonight. The man who sits the farthest will get the microphone. Yeah, but he will have to come so camera can see him. So yeah, while there's nobody behind him, so he'll come and take the microphone, and let's talk about compatibility. Yeah, and if you want to say something after him, then of course just indicate so we can be able to raise your hand. Stand right beside your wife, so if you go off track, she'll grab your trousers.
That's so true.
Yes.
All right, good night, everybody. When it come on to compatibility, for me, as the meaning is like we have to have things in common, if I'm right. And I think if you're in a relationship and you find that there is no compatibility, you and your partner have nothing in common, it's gonna be hell for me. Yeah, because why? You'll find that every little thing annoys each other, either you or the other person. As I was listening earlier from this morning, and you guys spoke about having God in your marriage, I think that is important, because the truth is, I am a fun type of person, down to earth person. My wife is more like an antisocial type of person. You understand? She's growing, right? But the truth is, we have grown to understand each other more, and we learn also to compromise, and I think that helps us a lot in our marriage. Yeah, kind of stop her, sister.
Beautiful, beautiful. So just to put the more psychological terminologies, one is more an introvert and one is more an extrovert. So the antisocial kind of sound, it's more like an introvert. Yeah, Grandvilliers.
Compatibility, the state in which two things are able to exist or occur together without problems or conflict.
Beautiful. So let me ask you. Kind of going along. The men are going to talk, right? As the women spoke first. So yes. Sir Tony, question or comment?
Is it a popular question? Were you okay, Sister Raquel? Were you raised up in a family that your mother was the homemaker, so to speak?
My mother had 4 of us, so I was raised in Cayman. I was born in Jamaica, but I came here very young. But my mother was married. She was always a business-minded person, so she always had small businesses. So she she was, sometimes she's home. My mother used to do days work. I remember when I was young, she used to do days work. Mommy used to take me with her because I was that kind of person who would want to learn to do things. So she would take me. Sometimes she'd leave me at the days work because she have to go and do something else. I remember like 15, 14, I'm there finishing up mommy days work, condos on West Bay Road, and people give her a tip and like, oh my God, your daughter, she can clean. I've never seen anybody can clean like that, you know. So mommy was always on the go. So when mommy, she and her husband separated, after a while, it's like I was a person who kind of kept the house for her. So I knew that mommy gone to work, she gone to the hotel to work. On a Saturday, I would get up before they make sure the house wash. I would clean her bathroom, clean the house. So when mommy come in from work, she didn't have to do housework. And even till today, she would always say to Steve, she'd always say like, I don't know if Raquel know how much she used to help me. She was the only child of the 4 children that left the house that I miss. You know, that I would make sure my brothers and sisters' uniform iron every Sunday evening. I was on the clock, go to church.
That's a gift and an anointing, by the way.
Yeah, I go to church, I eat my dinner, and then by 4 o'clock, I grab the iron board, I iron out my sister and brother uniform, mommy uniform, mine, because I was in John Gray, and then we go to church at night. So even now I have the same thing. Mommy went to Jamaica for convention just last week, and I called my sister and I said, look, Josiah, everybody, I'm like, look, mommy gone. It's an opportunity for us to go in and basically clean out and throw out what we want to throw out. You know, but she's here, she's like, no, no, no. So she went, and I still do it. Still went there, and I mean, we clean, we dig up, bought new stuff, fixed up our place, and she came in, and she was like, Jesus, you're the same, you know, because I always had the homemaker thing. As I said, I believe I was really supposed to be a housewife, but, you know, in trying to raise 4 children and make life easier, I ended up going to work.
Well, okay, with all of that, it seems like you were raised up in that environment.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why it's so easy for you. And I guess the time that we are living in now, most, I don't know the percentage, most children are not being raised that way. So it becomes difficult for them to fall in place like where you fell in place.
And I raise my children the same way. My children know from they were babies, stand up on whatever they stand up on, spread their bed at 4-year-old, 5-year-old. Josiah, as a boy, he washes his clothes, he irons his uniform. I leave him home tonight, 5 uniforms ironed for the 5 days of the week. Josiah know when it's cleaning day. If I say go and clean your bathroom, clean your room, I go up and I inspect. I said, did you pull the dresser from the wall? I said, listen to me. If your wife can't clean, she don't know how to clean toilet because she didn't have a brother. She don't know where to look. Men pee, you know, bend down, wipe the toilet. So Josiah knows, and the girls, they know how to take care of, run a house, cook. They are in university now. That's my daughter send me recipes on my phone every day. Different meals that she cook. She's always cooking. All through the night, she's always. So can I teach my children to be industrious? Just like how I was raised to be industrious.
Wow, that's good.
So
That's good.
to that point that you raise, Sir Brown, there are some people based on how they were raised, they don't want to do it again. And I think some people it's true. Based on how they were raised. Some people were raised in more of a slavery mentality or a slavish background. So you wash the clothes and it doesn't wash properly. I don't know if you know about this part. They drop the clothes off the line in the dirt. And so because of that, some people have been raised with a sense of a resentment towards doing it. So that is why you will find some people not so willing to want to do these things because of how they were raised.
Is it wrong, say, as a man, to expect these things from a woman? Let me say,
That's your question.
Proverbs, 31, it has a lot to do, with that Proverbs 31 wife. And she was, really creative. The Bible says, she even got up. She had maids. but she got up and provided for her mate even, you know. And so, for me personally, I expect a woman to have an inclination towards home.
It's a very good term there, inclination. I personally, I don't think it's wrong for a man to expect his wife to wash, cook, and clean.
Have certain abilities.
Yes, have the wash, cooking, and cleaning ability. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. However, while you court, and I think this is the way for the courtship and all of this, you have to make sure that this is somebody that shares and knows what your expectations are, and you know, if that is where they fall in. Nowadays you find that a lot of women tell them, well, I have a job, so don't expect me to you know, do the wash, cooking, and cleaning and so on. Personally, if I look at myself, as far back as I can remember, I had to learn to do things for myself. My mother had to roast the corn stick over fire, get it stiff, and she gave me one uniform shirt, and I'd wash that. And when I thought I was doing well, and she looked at it and she approved, she gave me my brother's uniforms. and then I started doing all of this. So there are certain things that I learned from her. Certain things I improved on my own. You know, wash, cooking, and cleaning comes. It's okay for me. I can do it if I have to do it. You know what I mean? And so, like for Jackie and myself, when we worked on shift, and I was home on a weekend and she was at work, you know, I was the one that did the washing, and I, you know, watched my football game and time my roads and what goes, and if I can't get it on the line, get it dry, go to the laundromat and all that kind of thing. I got it done because I did not want her to feel that, you know, she had to come in from work and then be worried out. In fact, there was no time. Otherwise, I'd be wearing dirty uniforms to work Monday morning because there was no time over the weekend to get them washed. So I took on that role, and it wasn't anything that was a problem for me. You know? Sometimes with ladies, it's not that I can't do things. Sometimes they prefer not to. So if I'm coming from work, I'm looking at the town trends. Even if I wanted to go home and cook, it's gonna be, it's gonna be touchy. You know, I just go. I know what she likes. I just go fix up home, and you know. And when we have the time, then we do that. And then sometimes you say, you know, I'm gonna cook up a meal. I'm like, are you sure? You know, because you're coming in from work. I'm working, she's working. You know, sometimes you just don't want to. And then I am a little bit more sensitive about food than she is. That she will come in and say, oh, I'm starving. And she goes in, she takes her clothes off, and she lies on the bed and she finds something else to do. And I'm sitting there 15, 20 minutes, I'm looking at her. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the woman that said she was hungry. And then I say, okay, can I make you a cup of tea or something? And she says, oh, yeah. And then the whole thing kicks in. So by the time, I know for a fact that by the time that she recognizes that, oh yeah, I was hungry, I came home hungry, she's absolutely starving. So it's about trying to know, learn things about people. You cannot live in a house with somebody and you don't know anything about them. You know, you have to learn, and I think that is something that I've started to recognize. I mean, you know, yes, we've not been married very long, but you begin to learn things about people. Yeah, as you go along, and you have to make a deliberate effort that you want to improve the life of this individual that you're with. And once your partner recognizes that you have their best interest at heart, you will be surprised to see how that individual responds to you, whether it's male or it's female, especially women. They respond to you in such a way that you would never believe. I talked to Jackie's daughter, 30-odd-year-old young lady. sometimes she calls me, she says, "Father." I'm like, okay. And I think what happened was that she recognized the difference in her mom. She said to me, she said, "I love the way that she is so calm now that she is with you."
Jesus.
She has said that to me. She said it's like a world of difference from where she was. In fact, they have this joke where I think in her previous marriage, she could not put money anywhere that man wouldn't find. So like
It was like a leprechaun.
she could not put. So like now, there's money all over the house, and sometimes she says, "My God, I would have never been able to do this 5 years ago, or 10, whatever, however long ago it was." So there are things that you understand about individuals, their likes, their dislikes, some of the stuff that came with them from, that could have been a big thing if I had started to move stuff around when she was not, aware of it, and so on. So learning about the individual might be strained a bit, but the expectation that you have is okay as long as the individual that you're with knows what the expectation is and they're willing to take it. Because marriage is a job, basically. It's, well, I've heard about this, but I've never actually read about it. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus and all that. So it's like putting two separate worlds together. Two separate desires are now going to become one for the benefit of both of us. We're going to bring this thing together. We're going to learn about each other. So it's an active thing. You can't just bring her flowers today and she never sees flowers for the next 10 years.
All right. So we're going to take Steve's response to that aspect. So your question is, should it be expected? Good.
Yeah. For me, everything was biblical. From the day I received Christ and started to remodel my marriage, because I do it on both stage. So when I started the process of getting Raquel to submit and to get her to the place of understanding, our individual roles as husband and as wife. As the brother said, everything is biblical because, God created us for individual roles. And no matter what go around it and try to fit into the modern days of doing things and how the world now is telling the role of a man and the role of a woman is, it's fine, but there's a biblical role for us to maneuver in our marriage. No, I didn't want to be a dictator and getting her to do things in that area, because it's got to be biblical and it's got to be circumstance, based off how things going now, modern time, for her to function that role, don't looking like you're a dictator and you're telling them, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. So I look at everything, but I know my weaknesses as a man around the home. I mean by doing housework. I do what I can do, but when I met Raquel, in the dating process, which is important, you look for what you want, and you have a thing they call compatibility. But there's one thing that you miss when you're saying what you can live with, because nobody's gonna compile all the things that you want from them. You gotta know, find out, can I live with that? Can I.
So in essence, one person does not come with everything.
No, they can't come with everything, and some of it but for me, I realized after I get married that there are some things was struggling me within a relationship that God have to also help me to love through the commandment of love your wife like how God give his life for it. So when I start to put that into place, Raquel started to submit more and more. There is things that she do for me I don't ask her to do. There is things that she take on that normally she take on by herself with the help of the Lord and through prayer and through putting it to her and put it in practice. And even now, there is some stuff that we know our roles without even I come and say, Raquel, do that, or do that, or do that, or do that, because you gotta find a way how to get across without being dictated or quarrel or forced to do it. So I've learned over the years. So we'll get the Bible and we'll read, and we apply. We'll read and we apply. And over the years we do that. So she know her role and I know her role. In the modern world, we don't conflict with us being successful in what we are doing. So for me, there's some stuff that I know that I'm a man, I need to get done. Whatever she can, she don't touch that. Like fixing stuff around the house, getting our car service, getting our car washed, get the yard more, get the person come and get that done. She don't do none of that. You know what I mean? She want something to fix. She call me, Steve, fix that, because I said, listen, I'm good at handiwork. I will take care of all that. Which you have some ladies, they do the man and the woman role.
So I got to interject right there. So what about the men who can't do none of that?
That's where it get tough. That's where it get tough.
Can't change a bulb.
Yeah, they can't change a bulb. But I tell my sons, because I know it's tough, but I just as she train the girls to do their role, I know I can't change the whole world. And it's tough. As I said before, who comes out tonight need to hear, and some people do not want to hear. You can't change the whole world, but you change the world one soul at a time.
Life at a time.
One life at a time. And I realize that there's a lot of struggles in one's life. Never know fundamentals, because I never know fundamentals when I get married. You have to learn it on my own. And I realize that for my sons and my daughters, I have to teach them fundamentals. And not because someone said, oh, I don't do this, I don't do that means it's right. It's just what you want and what you learn.
That's right.
And I will not dictate to you and say, let your life be like mine. And that's why I really want to apply it and I make sure that light shines through me before I dictate to you. Because the first person that ever touches you. And if you're not living the life that you're portraying or you're preaching, you're hypocrite. And that's why I said today, I don't want to be one of that. So when I got saved, I tried to read the word and apply the word to my personal life and try to live the life that I portray and I want to do. And then I try to train my son now that, listen, do not make your wife drive you around, get a license that you can drive your wife. Do not see the door clock falling off, you can't screw the lock off. So there's some fundamental things as a young man I'm going to teach your sons. Yeah? To hunt, to make sure the butcher full of food that the wife can get something to eat. But you don't necessarily have to map the floor and clean it, because you build the house for your wife for what to take care of. The woman that you give her that to take care of. You give her that kitchen to control.
Her domain.
So if she can't cook today, you can fall and fill that gap. But it's not your kitchen. That's not your kitchen, but you're there to fill that gap. So if she wants a cup of tea, you're going to make a cup of tea in her kitchen. You can build a kitchen for her. You build this home for her. It's her home. She monitors that home. It's biblical. Yeah? But now, you talk to man, you know man right away that he's there. Oh, it's my house. My house. And I'm saying, that's why when I'm on the road, I don't talk to some people nowadays about marriage, about relationship, because they don't understand.
They're weak.
They're weak. So I don't talk about it. It's kind of nerve-wracking. I'm sweating to talk about it because they look at you like, really, Steve, you crazy? I can't do that. But I said finances. I don't monitor money. It's not for me to monitor. Because it's a butchery before money come in. That's why it's difficult to know. Before money come in, man's on farm. We call make sure you're on a farm, the food is there, family eat. Family come first, we come last. We always come last. We were born to love like our culture, should give life for it. That means we're supposed to be selfless.
Sacrificial.
We are sacrificial. And if I go into the Raquel and say, boy, oh Steve, when I was with children and say, boy, this, I said, Raquel, this is all I have, it's there. And I said, if everything you can back something. I go to the barber shop, I said, Raquel, I'm going to cut me anything left. I said, no. I said, right, you're not going to cut. And that's why I live. My life was always sacrificial. And a lot of men don't understand that it's always about them. So because I open up myself to be sacrificial, Raquel don't have a chance than to love me and to treat me like the person that I am. You know what I mean? So true submission come to how much you want to submit yourself.
That's right.
And I realize that submission don't come from brute force. And then you have to, if I if I even pray the Lord said, bless you with something, and the Lord tell me, I have to pray until Raquel see it, because I'm not going to pass, oh, the Lord tell me, so you know, I don't believe what you want to think. That's the out of order. So I said, listen to me, Raquel, the Lord is saying something to me, and it's this, and what pray about it, and trust me. And she said, you know, Steve, I trust the Spirit, but I said, yeah, but I needed to get consultation from the Lord too. Right. And when she consult the Lord and we come in agreement by, not even by praying, but come to that understanding by, you know, the thing come to her and she revealed it to her, like first come and say, Ray, she said, you know, Steve, you're right. And I said, no, it's time for to go ahead and pray. So when you said earlier that sometimes you feel that she have a free will, no, that's also about submitting. You cannot be a leader and be a dictator. That's right. To be a true leader, you got to involve the person that you're with in everything you're doing. Even the point is it makes no sense. But listen, even though you know what you're going to do already, you know, but listen, and he said, you know what, I'm going to fit in what you said to me. So, because even if I'm going to have something to eat, and Raquel says, Steve, what do you want to eat? And I said, you choose. She's not going to choose. She said, Steve, what you're eating? I said, Raquel, just do something. I said, no, Steve, you choose. And I realized that the foolishness is in my hand now. I said, you know what, we're going to have, and I'm going to drink. I said, all right, give me 2. She's like that she don't realize. She said, all right, Steve, give me 2. My daughters know, but she don't realize it yet. The submission, how much she submit to my leadership. Because my thing was always, I want her to come, Lord, Steve. It's not a joke, I'm serious. I want Raquel to love me like how Sarah called Abraham love. And she might say to me, say, why, if she said to me, say, Steve, the son, and I do, because when Abraham see for this, the help me, because Sarah tend to do it. You know what I mean? It wasn't right, you know, but he did it. And when he did it, I said, something want to say, never do it again. But at the end of the day, as I said to you, you have to make mistakes in the marriage. And submit and make mistakes. If you take away the money the first time, don't get upset. Say, put some more there again and trust her. It's over time you gain that trust. It don't come overnight. It's a long period. Marriage is a long-term thing, you know. And the enemy know the power that it brings and the blessing that it brings and the prosperity that it brings. So it not come and start coming and attack it. So we live better before we were never married, and when we get married, the enemy come down like a flood. And I said, when I realized what he was trying to do, I said, no way. You're not going to mash this up. Yeah? So I started to apply the word and the principle of God to a marriage as the man be totally submissive. In everything, transparent. You know what I mean? Knowing that she run the home. And she come and say, Steve, so and so and so. I said, babe, you're your woman, I believe for you, and I'm going to go again. Take off my shoes, take off my shoes. He said, clean my kitchen, clean my kitchen. She said, Steve, just turn up this, I'm going to go again. Yeah. Because I tell her build a home for her. And if I need to leave, I leave it and give it to her because it's her home. I build it for her. She's gonna run, I'm gonna maintain it. Yeah. And I understand my role. And over the years, I said to her every time she get upset and she get upset, I sit her and I say, Raquel, listen, I take a deep breath, I walk and I come up and I deal with the issue. We are too emotional as men. We need to be positive. God created us to be positive. And every day I said to myself, Steve, continue to live with that positive sense. Lead with God. I don't want to apologize to Raquel because I said something out of ignorance. And I discredit God and His principle and His law and His will and the Holy Spirit that is in me. So I take a deep breath. Sometimes I go in the corner and I say, Lord, how can I go back and lead Raquel through this? And sometimes she even feel bad when I do it because she, you know, I apply the leadership of Christ in my life, that she can come to seek God with me and glorify Him. Yeah? So when I got to get saved, it was about the church and the organization, about the people. It was about me going home and applying the word of God to my life, working out my life, that God can be fruitful in my life. And I've seen the Lord take off the places. Beautiful. And do things in my life that blow our mind because I apply the principles, the word, and true submission. Because if you know how much powerful you can get that lady mapping it, what he was not show for your end of a force to do. If you truly apply the order of submission and love all across the Christ of the church, you get to do things that you blow your mind actually do that for you. Blow your mind.
Beautiful. Time is never enough to deal with these challenges. Time is never enough, and but we're gonna continue. Because what we have to get to is the real foundation. And I know some of you are just listening and say, well, I don't want to ask the question. But of course I know you'll ask it. The next time if you have a question that you want to propose and you don't want to speak, then of course you can write it, so at least we can ask it for you, and it will make it much easier. But we really want to thank the Lord for Stephen, Raquel, and Delroy and Jackie's experiences that they have had, and to now see that the common denominator between both marriages is Jesus Christ. Yeah, because if it's not Jesus, then all that they're talking about will just be off the top of their head, but their experiences gets better because of Jesus. He runs the affairs. And again, I give you the scripture from Psalm 127: except the Lord build the house, them who build in vain. Unless the Lord watches the city, the watchman watches in vain. So it is very important that we allow Jesus Christ to be at the helm of our marriages. And when challenges come, don't try to find a psychologist, not even your pastor. Find Jesus first. Find Jesus first, because as much as I am his servant, I am still human, and I will rationalize based on what's going on at the moment without even thinking deep enough. And so it's going to Jesus first, and then of course external help comes next. But as Solomon said in Proverbs 3 and verse 5, he says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And it applies to everything in our lives. In all your ways, put Jesus first. That's what acknowledging means, and he shall direct your path. And so we do that. And so for those who are not yet married, make sure that on Wednesday you have your questions, because we're going to deal with the before marriage aspect of things on Wednesday. How do I know that this is where God is leading me? Yeah. So we want to talk about that part on Wednesday as we grow together for God's glory, honor, and praise. Thanks to those who have watched us online, and we thank the Lord for you, and we trust that you have been encouraged. Something that would have been shared would also motivate you to become better and stronger in your endeavors to building a better and stronger marriage. We're going to close, we're going to pray and give thanks to the Lord. If you just bow your heads right where you are and give thanks. Father, once again, we appreciate your love and your strength and your power working in our lives. We appreciate your wisdom. We appreciate your understanding. We appreciate your work within our lives. We acknowledge your grace and your love. We acknowledge your power, Lord, that has been demonstrated in our lives in a very supernatural and significant way. Thank you for knowledge. Thank you that we are being redeemed from things, Lord, that have held us back, and now you are putting us in a better place where we can be able to live godly in this present world, and that godliness also reflects in our marriages and in our affairs and in all that we do. So we pray for your constant leading and your constant direction, that through your divine power, through your divine wisdom, through your divine strength, that Lord, you will bring us to a better and a brighter place. That Lord, families will be healed, that marriages will be healed. Lord, even those who have, Lord, gone through divorce will also experience your healing, so that, Lord, they too will be prepared for, Lord, what comes next in making their lives better. We ask for your direction. We ask for your constant guidance upon our lives as a people. That, Lord, you continue to bless us in a very special way. Lead us now continually, we ask, as we continue to praise you, honor you, thank you, and love you. In the mighty and precious name of Jesus. And we say, amen, amen. Thank you so much once again, brothers and sisters. Please show some love for our panelists once again. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And trust God's wisdom and grace to continue to be upon your life. So once again, join us on Wednesday as we continue to share together intentional family living, family life as we get things back together for God's glory. So God bless you, and have a great and a productive week. May God's grace and favor and love continue to reflect on your life. So be blessed and good night.